I would like to bring up one of the members that we worked with over the past few months. His name is Jeff, and if you guys could give him a big hand, we'll have him up here.
Well, yeah, I guess the way this rundown says, I do it's CAD drafting, computer drafting and design. I did the official join, March of 2020, so I was right in the middle of all the COVID stuff.
Go pandemic!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brave.
Signed on with the Stones. They drug me in and
Shout out to the
Wait,
Stones.
yeah.
They drugged you
Yep,
and their stones?
exactly. It's a different party than I was expecting, but but yeah, I went in and I've been looking into doing real estate for a long time.
Do you have any prior experience? Did you buy any rentals before this?
I had a house when I moved from Amarillo up to here, and I kept it,
Okay.
but it wasn't bought as a investment property.
He started as we call that an accidental
Yeah.
real estate investor. And many of us start that way because even with an accident, it can still work out pretty good. We just take you to that next level to make it intentional and phenomenal. So, the reason why we put teamwork here is because, so you've got that house in Amarillo that you kept, and then
Correct.
your first one here purchased with Lifestyles is where?
Down in San Antonio.
Why didn't you invest right here?
I looked
you
around and I
scared?
liked the numbers better down in San Antonio,
Okay.
and so I went down there.
So, okay. And that's what Dave is going to teach you. It's all about teamwork. You're not doing this work yourself. And a house is a house is a house anywhere in the country as long as the numbers make sense and as long as you know your submarket and everything. So kudos to you. That's why we wanted to have him up here, is because he did
Right.
such a phenomenal job.
And another thing, Lori brings up a great point, which is invest where it makes sense, live wherever you want to live. So we have people watching, from California, Hawaii. They can buy in Texas. They can buy in Georgia. I mean, this is a Dallas case study, but the fact is this guy you live up here in Dallas, correct?
Yes, sir.
And San Antonio is 6 hours away. That's no different than 1 hour flight or whatever. So I just want to make sure you understand.
How many times did you go down and visit the property?
I went and looked at it after the whole deal settled.
Perfect.
So
That was a
beforehand.
good
One
answer.
time. See that? So you don't have to be there holding people's hands. Great point.
And I also want to mention, too, I don't want to take over your story here, but, I had to check the spelling of that street several times because I thought, is it A-N? I-A-N? I thought you surely made a typo, but that's correct, just so everybody knows.
I'm from San Antonio. We speak different there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not the best in English, but yeah, that bothered me, or has bothered me since day one. But yeah.
Yeah, when you're putting a PowerPoint together, I'm like, really? And so I Googled that street number so many times and looked it up.
Yep.
So anyway, will you tell us a little bit about this house, why you selected this one in particular? Not necessarily the numbers. We're going to go over that in a minute. But,
Okay.
Why this one?
Well, this one turned out real good. It was actually bought. Another Lifestyles member was selling it. And so the house was already set up. It was well taken care of. There was a few things I had to do after the fact, but nothing really big, and they actually had it set up with tenants in place, and so it was just just sign the paperwork, and for a first round, and that's kind of what I was looking for. First round, just something simple, like I've listened to Bigger Pockets too, and they say go out there and buy your first house, just get that done and out of the way, and then so in the next ones I definitely want to find a distressed property and dig in a little deeper, but yeah, it was.
Well, it's surprising. Just doing one, no matter how simple it is, you get that confidence because guess what? You're a real estate investor now.
Right.
So this is what your property looked like. If you want to explain a little bit about that, it's very basic builder grade stuff, clean, functional. What did you do to it actually?
There was nothing.
Oh, well, that's right, because the tenant was there. But I thought you had painted or something, or the tenant requested
after the fact, there was
something
like AC
afterwards.
issues. There was a drain line that clogged up, and they went in, put in there was some kind of switch on it that'll shut it off to keep it from overflowing into the house. But yeah, just minor stuff.
Okay, because we've got a little bit of some numbers that you had reported, like a $2,500 for your rehab, and that's a point I'd like to make up here, is that there really is no such thing as a turnkey. Basically, I mean, it is, But we always want to account for something, whether it's bringing it up to the lifestyles model, repairing something that may have broken over the past year when the tenant was in there. So always put a little bit of something in your numbers, even if it's an easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's used. There's going to be something beat up. Yeah.
So I'm looking here. You got a purchase price of $114,800, which is good. So they left some meat on the bone, knowing that an investor has to make it work for themselves. So even though it was a member selling this property, and then it was valued at $130,000 according to all the comps in the area. So that gives you a pretty chunk of equity. Tell us about how you got it about the rent, because obviously it had a tenant in place.
Yeah, so it was already on the lease, set up that way. They had been in there for a month before it went on sale, I believe. And then, so yeah, it was up. So when I looked at the stuff on Quest, I was looking at the rent comps, and they were like 1050. So it was just slightly under what the comps were. So yeah, it was good shape.
Okay, so and are you using property management on it, or are you managing it yourself from afar?
I set it up through that Cozy. I guess it's apartments.com now.
Yep.
And yeah, just do all the payments online.
And all this stuff sounds like Greek if you're new. This is all stuff I teach in a seminar about cozy.co. I show you ways to do all this advertising for free and stuff, how to screen your residents. We'll teach that in a seminar.
But I think this is going to be, and I'm not going to presuppose a question from the audience, but they're probably thinking, well, there's more to being a landlord than just, or an owner than just collecting rent. So do you have people there that you can call on since you don't have a property manager?
Yeah, that's what I've really liked about Lifestyles. You've got the vendor list, and I've joined on with different Facebook groups and stuff that are members of Lifestyle. And there's a lot from down in San Antonio. And there's different ones in different areas, but I found the ones in San Antonio, and when I have an issue, I just start asking around. It's like, hey, I need an AC guy, and they give me the guy to go to, and it's I don't know, it's a strange world that we live in now that I can make a phone call, a guy will go out, he takes a picture of the before, he does the work, he sends me a picture of the after, and then the administrative assistant or whatever will call me after that and make the payment online over the phone. I'm hundreds of miles away, and I can do everything just
It's a
all from
different
here.
world.
Yeah.
Well, one thing before we move from this slide, I'd like you to talk about these returns, because there again, David was talking about the North Texas market being $30,000 to $40,000 cash out of pocket, and if you'll notice here on Jeff's cash out of pocket, much lower than that. So if you're starting out with a chunk, then you can go a lot further this way.
Yeah, you ruined my speech
What's that?
because it's less.
Oh, that was true. But the returns, you're making money on the returns two different ways. Your 34% return on capital gain, and then your 16% cash on cash return. Cash on cash is the one that's coming into your account monthly, right away.
Right.
So remember, I said they'll make anywhere from $200 to $600. It's right there in the middle, $300. But I want you guys to think about that if you're new. That's like buying a bond that yields a 16% return, or a CD that makes 16% return tax-free. Is that pretty good? Give me a hand. That's pretty good. Not bad. And how are you going to thank your residents next year? What are you going to do to the rents?
Probably raise them
Yes.
if they go up.
We're in it to win it. We're here to make more money.
He was quite shy about it, though.
I
but
know.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do still have, and I'm going to bust you on this one. You've got that property in Amarillo that you've had for how many years?
Originally bought it in 04. So yeah, I've had it for a long time.
And little money down because you used it as your primary, or bought it as your primary. Okay?
Right.
So you're cash flowing, albeit not stellar, but what's sitting in it?
All the equity, yeah.
Maybe 3.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get that money rolling. How did you? Well, that's on another slide. So let's finish this one up first. Who would like to give themselves, get $72,000 worth of equity just by owning real estate? And this first one was $7,900 within the right up front with the acquisition. You didn't have to wait 10 years for that one.
Right.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to kind of talk about, what did you use for your capital? What finally compelled you? You said that you'd been thinking about real estate for a long, long time, and I think you made the comment that you were standing at the edge of the pool, dipping your toes in, but you were afraid to dive in. Tell us why you did, because you did a great job.
Yeah, well, yeah, standing at the end of the diving board looking into the water, and finally someone came along and kicked me and, jump into it and get into it. And
It was the stone people?
yeah. Yeah, the biggest influence coming up is, and my daughter's like a few years away from college, and I've looked at the prices of what it's going to cost for college. I was like, man, I got to get something in place and moving. So yeah, that's been a huge motivator to get in there.
And when you came to the seminar, it was during COVID. I had to do it online, not when I was in person, or was it in person? Was the last one I did in person, or did you?
Yeah, one of the I came to a case study here, and that's the last.
So it was the last one before everybody died of the plague. Okay.
Yeah.
That was March 12th.
Yeah.
So you must have had your 2-day on the
Yeah, it
14th.
must have been the last one before we went online. Well, that's cool. So literally it was like a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
And you already got a property. That's good.
Heck yeah.
But how about this? How about this first bullet point when you were talking about, you work, you love your job, you really don't want to quit your job per se, but the fact is you have to keep going to your job to get your paycheck, right? So
Right,
you had
right.
made the
Yeah,
point.
I'd love to have it set up to be financially independent. Have your money working for you. And I've done other stuff on the side too, doing my own CAD work, and I enjoy doing that. But yeah, when you have to, the bills don't pay themselves. So you got to get out there and you have to hustle, like David was saying. But yeah, if you had something else in place that was paying your bills, you could do what you want when you want. And cool.
Okay. So what's next?
Well, yeah, I need to look at that old house and get the equity out of it and move on to something else. I had planned for this year, I wanted to do 2 single families and then get invested into a multifamily.
Okay.
And so I'm on the hunt right now. I've been bugging David on Facebook too, asking questions and asking everybody questions. Figuring out the stuff on the single family, trying to figure out something that's, good distressed property. And
Well, I think it's very important to note, because when we sit and we talk with each other, or when anyone's talking with their mentor, we always try to pin you down to a goal. You have to have something in mind to go for it. Otherwise, as David had mentioned earlier, life's going to suck you in, and something else is going to become more important. So your goal is to get 2 more properties this year, and we are in what month now?
September.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
There's
running
no
out of time.
excuse. You can do it.
Get
Oh, yeah.
cracking.
Oh, yeah.
And there are great deals around the holidays. That's when everybody starts getting lazy and lets life suck them back in. So we're going
And
to
your
get you.
Amarillo property, 60,000 equities, at least 2 or 3 more houses. So instead of cash flowing $300, if you had 3 of them making $300, you'd be tripling your money.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds good on paper, right? But now you got to put it into action,
right.
and she'll help
Exactly.
you with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you like to do in your spare time? You already talked about your passion there, but so you would just continue doing that for fun, huh? Building and creating and 3D printing?
Yeah. The stuff I did on the side, I ended up for doing all the CAD work that I did on the side, I ended up doing a lot of stuff for entrepreneurs. Like they had something in their mind, and I could sit down with them, and they talk it through, and I could go back and design it, and then 3D print a prototype and everything, and get it back to them.
That's awesome.
And then they could take it to, get funding for it and stuff like that. And yeah, I really enjoyed like
He's
the
probably
design
really
side.
good at Roblox and Minecraft too.
Are those your games?
mind.
Well,
Are those yours?
Building
Oh.
stuff.
Well, the CAD work is real
thought that
similar
was
to
your video
Legos,
game.
but yeah, like Minecraft bugs me because it's like so simple.
Oh, I know.
The stuff I can do is like way more
Oh, I know.
complex. Yeah.
I know.
Didn't you say something about, Legos?
That was a
to
put
me.
down, a nerd put down. He just called me simple.
That's okay. It's totally over my head. Y'all keep talking about these strange things. I don't know. All right. So it's all about creating the lifestyle that you desire. So once you get up there and you can replace cover your expenses with your real estate, then everything else is gravy money after that. So put it into more investments and become wealthier, create a better life, or do whatever you want. So you had a team to help you here. You actually utilized the North Texas mentors and the Central Texas mentors. There's your agent.
Yeah. Greg Trimble helped out a lot.
Yeah, Greg
me all
Trimble's a
set up.
great guy. He's 6'8" tall. Did you know that?
I met him in person, but
Yeah. He was a high school teacher, used to teach calculus. His first year being a lifestyles agent, found 78 homes for members. I remember all this stuff. I'm weird. I know.
No, that's good to know. We got definitely a superstar on our
He
team
is,
there.
he was, yep.
So, do we have any questions for Jeff? Sorry, I didn't know that we didn't have a questions slide there. Shock.
Anybody? Bueller? Any online? Nicole? No? Oh, we got one. Well, let's get at this one first. Can I grab one of the microphones?
Yeah.
Can you go back to the slide where the numbers were?
Can you go back to the slide with the numbers, please? Terry has a question for you, and just hold up close.
Yeah, that slide. So can you talk a little bit, it may not be for Jeff, but can you talk a little bit about return on capital gain? What does that mean, and how does that benefit you?
Okay. Do you want to cover that, Lori?
The return on capital gain.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
I'll share, Jeff.
There you go.
The return on capital gain is the fact that he was able to get some instant equity with that $79.96. We take what the value of the property is, less the purchase price, less any rehab that he needed to make sure that he maintained that value, and closing costs, and that gets him instantly $79.66. And you always, to figure out your return, you divide that by what it took you out of pocket in order to make that. So that just makes sense. And we do the cash flow the same way. Your annual cash flow of $37.80 divided by the $23,460 that it took him to make that.
But there's
That was a
more
good
to
question.
it than that. It's a great question. We're only showing two ways we make money here.
Yeah.
We're showing the equity capture instantly and a cash flow. We make 5 ways. Is this house going to go up in value next year? So it's going up about 10% a year in San Antonio right now. It's not 10% on that 23 grand he invested. It's 10% on the 130,000. That's an extra 13 grand he's going to make next year as it goes up in value. That would be about another 50% return, would it not? One more way, principal pay down. Every time that renter's paying the mortgage, paying the rent, he's paying the mortgage, you're building up equity that way. And the last benefit, which we're not showing, is the tax benefits. If he does it correctly, which I'm going to teach this weekend, all that cash flow is tax-free. Does that sound pretty cool? Yeah. So it's even better than what we're showing.
That was a good question.
That was a great question. You have one over there? I'll get exercise. Watch it.
One right here, too.
What?
Right here. Front row.
Oh, I'll wait on him.
Yeah, wait on him.
Let's go to Ben. Ben always has good questions. Ben's trying to do his house right now.
If you do more houses down in San Antonio, do you think you'll get property management, or are you still going to try and do it all yourself?
I'd stick with doing it by myself for now.
Yeah, he's not lazy. You're young. Gosh, what do you spend per month on that house, paperwork-wise, and what? How much, really, Jeff, tell them how much time you spend after they ACH you the money or whatever. What do you spend on it?
I can't. Yeah, I don't really spend money or spend time on it. Yeah.
So if you could work 5 minutes, 10 minutes a month, is it worth it? Why does he need a property manager? You millennials, you're all the same. Oh, you have a microphone. Go ahead. Go ahead.
As long as it's fun. Yeah. Whoa. Are you going to sell the property in Amarillo?
You're in front of a speaker. That's how speakers work. They feedback if you're in front of a speaker.
Yeah, I've been looking at that. I've got the seed planted when I was in the expo. Other people were talking about, like, do you have equity in something? And I started to realize, like, you know what? That house has got a lot of equity. Yeah, I need to look at doing something with that. So.
Put the money to work.
Yeah. Remember, I told you the hardest rule for me to teach: you can't get rich slow. Giving up what you have, what you can become. You become comfortable. You're making money on it, but you can make so much better if you just got to reevaluate it.
Maybe Chris wants to buy it. So.
Maybe Chris wants to buy it.
Maybe that's why.
No, he's buying apartments right now. All right.
Online question real quick.
Sure. Let's take like 2 of them.
There you go.
Okay, we have exactly 2. So how much of your time did you have to spend to complete the deal?
Well, I can say I bought a house for my own personal house the year before, and maybe just a little bit more time spent than just if you were just doing a regular house purchase.
So it's what he said. If you bought a house for you to live in for yourself, he spent a little bit more time because he probably had to line up some contractors and stuff, but it was easy. It was easy.
Yeah.
Cool. One
And
more?
Can you go into a little bit of detail about the process of actually finding the house?
How'd you find this house? Was this an email blast? Was this a...
Yeah, this one was the email blast, excuse me, that came from Greg. They came in, they go through, they have all the numbers set up. You just kind of take a glance over what they've showed as they see what the numbers as being, and Of course, I go through and check it myself and make sure that I agree that, you know, the numbers are in the vicinity of, you know, what they're saying, and, you know, if it looks like a good deal, then I'll go with it.
So what Jeff's saying, when you come to my seminar this weekend, I'm going to talk about there's opportunities where you can join a program where we actually find the deals for you, our lifestyles realtors, which was Greg Trimble. In other words, Greg Trimble sent out a one-page email saying, I have this deal, here's the returns, it's going to be $300 cash flow, and it's going to be $25,000 out of pocket. Then he would send back an email saying, can you send me a full package on it? And they would get the details. That's how hard it was for him. You can do that in your underwear. Who likes that? You get emails all day long of different deals. Okay? Great question. All right, let's give Jeff a hand. That was really awesome.
Got one more over here? I think so.
Was there another question over there? I'm sorry. Ben?
One last one.
Ben,
Come on.
you're brave.
You're getting up to the 15 ones. I love that, Jeff. I know.
It's all
Did I
right.
give him a hard time last time?
Are you planning on keeping this house long term like you are the Amarillo one, or are you going to sell this one pretty soon, like in 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, I'd say the 2 or 3 years.
Okay, just so you know, Ben was testing him. How long do I say to hold a house? 3 years. 5 to 7. Wash your mouth out for soap. Typical 3 years. Sell it before things break down, because there's a warranty satellite above the planet, and when your refrigerator or your stove goes bad, it's right after warranty goes out. If you sell it before it breaks, you have no headaches. Who likes that model better? Yeah. Great job. Awesome. Good question. Thanks so much.